again, honored and grateful enough to be there to see this dance in its infancy, where it was all about finesse, swagger, the dance itself versus the moves. So you have the movement, or you have the dance, which is the cake, and then you have moves, which is the icing on the cake. What's happened throughout the decades is with the power moves, which is, first actually started with flipping. Flipping and b-boying was considered a power move back then, but it just wasn't called that. So if you had a dancer who knew how to do, let's say, a back tuck or a front tuck, it added something explosive to the dance. From there, a whole bunch of other stuff started, was added to the dance form. For instance, a Kurt Thomas flare, which I believe Icy Ice might have been the first guy to introduce this move. Icy Ice used to dance with myself and Mr. Wiggles in a group called the Magnificent Force. He was, a pioneer of what we call air moves or power moves. From there came air tracks and a bunch of other stuff, 1990s, 2001s, so many different moves that were extremely, dynamic and gymnastic and acrobatic. And as a result, what happened was people started to stray away from the true dance form and focus more on what we call blow-ups. These huge moves, these dynamic big moves, and the dance form sort of took a turn sort of into like a circus arena, if you will. I hate to say it, but, I got to call it how I see it. People started to lose scope of the real, true heart and soul of the dance. And I'm not saying everyone, because there were people who learned these dynamic moves, but always maintained the integrity of the swagger and the finesse of the actual dance steps and how to combine them. Everything, your character, your whole aura. The aura of a b-boy or a b-girl is such that they can walk into the room right now and you would know. That has to be a b-boy or a b-girl without even dancing. This is how this aura emanates, or even more so back then. So my thing is, you have so many dance competitions nowadays. Some of them attract thousands, in huge arenas and coliseums and what have you. And it has taken on sort of a whole larger sort of dimension and platform to the point where it is becoming a little bit of a circus show. For me, this is just my opinion. So I will address the whole Olympic thing, if you will, and keep an eye on the time because I can go on. 5, okay, cool. So my concern about it reaching the level where it winds up being an Olympic sport is, for starters, it's not a sport, it's a culture. Okay, so we're already at risk of people losing the scope of the actual dance form, as I mentioned to you guys, the finesse, the flavor, the footwork, how you drop, the floor work, the freezes, and then coming up with finesse. This is all part of the package. Not to mention how you dress. The way we dress totally complemented your style and your swag. When I think of the Olympics, I think of tight suits, like this skiers use, or, I don't know. It's just, it seems sort of out of the element. Also, who's going to judge this? Who are we going to get to judge this new Olympic sport? So there's a lot to consider here. The only way I can see it ever working out is if the pre-screening of the final contestants is done by reputable judges who actually live this, and people, thank you, bro. It's real talk, and preferably at least 1 or 2 people who were there even before my time that still understand what this dance is.